Hello, hello. Happy Sunday, beautiful people. It is so very good to be here with you on this Sunday morning as we gather together to celebrate the magnificence and the significance of the presence and power of God operating in, through, and as you, operating in, through, and as each and every one of us. We're going to begin, as we always do, with prayer. We're going to share a reading from the daily word today. I invite you to close your eyes and take in these words as we move into prayer. The word today, Father's love, and the affirmation, I bless those special ones who have shown me Father's love. A father's love is like no other. It gives me the warm feeling of protection and gentle guidance and inspires me to live up to its example. Father's love takes many forms. It might mean helping with homework, coaching sports, and teaching of all kinds. It might mean the wise counsel and loving guidance that prepares children to be self-sufficient and ready for the freedom and responsibilities of adulthood. A father's love may come from many earthly sources. No matter who showed me this love, its origin was divine.
Yes.
God is at the heart of all father's love. I pray that all fathers and father figures feel the appreciation of those they teach, love, and protect. May they know the love of God as they have brought it into the world. And again, the affirmation, I bless those special ones who have shown me Father's love. And so from this place of awareness, if you haven't already done so, I invite you to close your eyes. I invite you to get still, stop what you're doing, and let's take a collective breath in. And we exhale, bringing the focus of our attention here and now. We breathe in and we breathe out. Grateful for the breath. We breathe in and we breathe out. The past is gone, the future is yet to come, and we are here now. We are here now. We are here now. We are grateful for the breath, for it is that beautiful, close reminder of the reality of prosperity, that we need do nothing except allow it in, breathe it in. We need not fight anyone. We need not worry about anyone else. All that we need is available to us, just as available as our next breath. From this place of awareness, I remember and know that there is only one mind, only one power, only one presence that is working in all, through all, and as all. There is one life. That life is Mother, Father, God. That life is perfect, whole, and complete. And that life is my life now. And that life is your life now. And that life is our life now. And that life is all life now. It is the life of the tree, of the mountain, of the river, of the sea. It is the right life of the flower. It is the life of the honeybee. It is the life of every grain of sand. It is the life of every rock, every pebble. It is the life of every bird. It is the life of every child. It is the life of all life at the teeming in the oceans. It is the life of all. And it is your life now. It is my life now. It is our life now. For what I recognize and know to be true is that God is omnipresent. It is here and it is now. God neither comes nor goes. That means there is no spot where God is not. There is no spot in your emotions where God is not. There is no spot in your thinking where God is not. There is no spot where you can be physically where God is not. And as I recognize this, that means that where we sit here and now is a God spot. That means that this beautiful connection that connects us right here and right now is a God connection. And as we recognize that we are living, moving, and having our being in God, we recognize that God lives, moves, and has its expression in, through, and as us. We are one with God and one of God. We are individualized, particularized, unique, undivided expressions of the all in all. Whatever that highest reality is that you can think of, whatever that highest reality is that you name, whatever that name is that you use for this thing that I choose to call God right here and right now, you are one with it and one of it. And it is because of that oneness, it is because of that eternal, inseparable, inseverable connection that we have great power, that we live in great possibility, and that the word that we speak returns to us. And so right here and right now, I speak words of love. I speak words that are good. I speak words that are prospering. I speak words of gratitude. I speak words that are healing. I speak words that are constructive. I speak words that are life supporting. As we gather together here for the weekend service, we are grateful and thankful for Celebration Spiritual Center. We are grateful and thankful for the masterclass. We are grateful and thankful for all of the ways that we get to connect as a community so that we can continue to grow and thrive as prosperous people. That prospering begins in our minds and out pictures in our lives. We are so grateful for the process. We are so grateful for how it works. We are so grateful that it's no respecter of persons. We're so grateful that it works for you just as well as it works for me, just as well as it works for them and them over there. I am so grateful and thankful to know that this process is easy and effortless and absolutely accessible to all. So here and now, we endeavor to expand our thinking. Here and now, we endeavor to expand our minds and our hearts. Here and now, we endeavor to release any and everything that is unlike love so that we can experience love expressed in infinite forms of prosperity, in infinite forms of joy, in infinite forms of good, and infinite forms of love. And I am so grateful and thankful for this community. I am so grateful and thankful for this gathering. I am so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to expand and prosper. So with joy and thanksgiving, we now release this prayer, and I release it back into the law, which is always in operation. So with confidence, we say, amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
So it is.
So it is, and so it must be. Well, hello again. Happy Sunday. Good morning. I'm Pastor Greg.
I'm Pastor Yolanda.
We are so happy to be here with you on another Sunday as we are in masterclass mode, as we are in our summer mode, and wonderful things are always happening here at CSC. Now, if you are a first-time guest, we would love to say welcome to you, and we're so happy that you're here. We're happy that something or someone, be it a person or the algorithm, brought you to this live stream, and we're happy that you're here. And of course, we would love to hear from you. And so this information you see on your screen is how you access your digital connection card. This is your way to get in touch with us and for us to stay in touch with you. And so all you have to do is text that keyword, welcome, to the phone number you see there on your screen, 347-472-1078. Just the keyword. No additional messages are needed. Once you do that, you'll receive an automated reply with a link. Click that link. It'll take you to the digital connection card. We need your name and your email address, and then at that point, you'll be on our mailing list. You'll receive our weekly email that goes out on Fridays and all other correspondence. And again, you can reply to any of those messages and reach out to us as you need to. But again, we're happy that you're here. We're confident that something will be done, said, that will support you in living an empowered life and thriving in your life. You can also feel free to shout yourself out in the comments. You see folks are letting us know and letting you know where they're connecting in from. New York is always in the building. I know Chicago's in the building. ATL is in the building. The Bronx is in the building. So you can feel free to let us know where you're connecting in from. You may find that there's someone in your city, state, or country that is connected right here and now with you. If you are outside of the United States, you will see that here, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, in the full description of this post, you'll see that there's a link, and you can take that direct link. That'll take you to the digital connection card, because we recognize you may not be able to text a U.S. phone number. The last thing I'll say, when you come to CSC, we love to say the first time you come, you're a guest. When you come back, you're family. So welcome to the CSC family. Now, from this place of awareness, this is a wonderful moment and opportunity for us to tap into our news and updates. And from there, we can move forward with the meditation and then move forward with our class, the master class, as we're studying chapter 3 this week. Well, it is Father's Day, and of course, we want to take a moment to say we love and appreciate all of the dads in our community. Happy Father's Day to all of the dads. We see you, we love you, we honor you, we admire you, we respect you. We know that you are doing amazing things and impacting your family in powerful ways, and we trust that you will enjoy the day and enjoy being celebrated today.
And for all of the people out there whose fathers are no longer in this physical form, we honor their memories, we honor the connection that you continue to share with them, and we celebrate you as well, and know that you will continue to receive the love of a father figure when you are in need. So we honor that experience as well.
Absolutely. We are still in June, which
Yes,
means it is
yes.
still Pride Month, and we are celebrating Pride, affirming and loving our LGBTQ plus community. And as we've been saying over the past weeks, PY and I are honored to be your pastors,
Hmm.
and we want you to know and always know that this CSC will always be a safe space for you. And as pastors, we will always be safe pastors for you. Um, sometimes it feels like that should be automatic,
Yes.
but
But
we recognize it's
we
not.
recognize it's not, and we want to make sure that the love that we feel for you, you hear it loud and clear.
Absolutely. It is the third Sunday, which would normally be God Talk Sunday, but the God Talk is canceled today. And so we will be back together next month on the third Sunday for the God Talk. Now, we are in masterclass mode. If you're just joining us for the very first time, or if you weren't sure what the masterclass is all about, we are studying Open Your Mind to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. If you do not have the book, please get the book. It is available in print and digital formats. If you don't have it today, it's all good because we're going through the book line by line, page by page. So you won't need it to move through the class today, but definitely to continue reading and continuing studying throughout the week. Get the book. As a support to our masterclass series, our study series of the month is The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, which is the book that Catherine Ponder wrote before this. There's the Prosperity Trilogy. So the Dynamic Laws of Prosperity is book one. And this sermon series that PY and I taught is a powerful support to all that we're learning and studying in the masterclass, and it will support you in keeping your mind on prosperity consciousness and keeping your mind on what is true about prosperity, as there are lots of conversations out in the world that can distract you. It's important to have those things here that put your mind on the truth about prosperity. Now, every Wednesday morning, we gather together for the Momentum Prayer Call. The Momentum Prayer Call is your opportunity to start your day in consciousness. Start your day in the same way that we began our service, with a reading and with a prayer. We don't take too long. It takes about 10 minutes, but it's powerful what can happen. Just as we recognize how small a seed is and all that it becomes, well, the Momentum Prayer Call is like a seed for your mind. For your day, and it blooms and blossoms just by your intention of showing up and showing up in consciousness and aligning your conscious mind with your God mind. So we share a reading, we pray, we move on with our day. Now, if for some reason this doesn't work with your schedule and you're not able to be there live, every prayer is recorded. So at any point in time, 24/7, when you need prayer or want to tap into the vibration of prayer, use the playback number you see there on your screen, enter the access code, and the most recent prayer will play. If you have a prayer request, you can send that prayer request in to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. We are always holding the entire community in our hearts and minds, knowing the highest and best for each and every one of you. And we recognize you may have a specific prayer request. We recognize that you may want to submit a request on behalf of someone else. All good. Send it to that email address, again, prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And when your prayer is answered, send us an email. As the shift happens, send us an email. As the miracle unfolds, send us an email. We know that prayer works, and we love hearing how prayer is working in your life. Again, you can send that to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. And that concludes our news and updates for this Sunday, which means we now get to move into meditation mode as we are led in the meditation experience with PY.
Yes, yes. It is time for the meditation experience. The opportunity that we get to, as community, come together and allow an affirmative thought to sink deep into our awareness. Allow the truth beyond the words that we speak and the books that we read to permeate our consciousness, to embody the words that we read. Because we like to say, you can study all the sacred texts, and we obviously enjoy teaching them. But it is only through your direct experience of the God within you for yourself that you even know the words that you're reading are true. And so we take time every Sunday to open ourselves up and to allow the truth to sink deeper into our awareness. And so that when we come out of meditation, we come out filled with the truth and ready to move forward and from a place of peace and ease. This month's affirmative thought is, I am open to all of life's riches. I'm open to all of life's riches. You see, sometimes when we come to prosperity teachings, subconsciously, we are still closed. We might sit there and listen with our arms folded, just constricted. But this idea, I am open to receive all of life's riches. That means just expand your arms and your heart to receive it all. We don't limit the ways in which God shows up in our lives. We open ourselves to all possibility, to infinite possibility. And that's what this meditation is all about. I am open to receive all of life's riches. I might have ideas, I might have lists, but God has the ultimate understanding of what is possible. And so I open to it now. I unfold my arms. I open my mind. I open my heart to receive all of life's riches. So let's do that now. Let's prepare ourselves by finding our comfortable posture, seated upright in a chair, on a sofa, and plant the palms on the tops of the thighs. And just allow the shoulders and the shoulder blades to relax nice and easy down the back. And briefly look around, notice where you are. You're not in the past, you're not in the future. You're right here. And you're becoming more and more available in the present moment. And you're also safe in the present moment. Nothing that has transpired before now. Nothing to worry about happening in the future. We are here and all is well. From this place of knowing, from this place of connection, with the feet on the floor, allow your eyelids to gently close. And that soft, subtle movement of the eyelids closing is all that it takes to begin the inward journey, to allow softness and ease and openness to take over anywhere that has been closed this week, because we want to stay open to receive all of life's riches, all of life's guidance, all of life's awareness, all of life's unconditional love. That's riches too. And whether the breath appears to be deep or shallow, it matters not. We honor the breath, its movement, its continual reminder of in and out, of giving and receiving. No strain or pressure. We just feel it moving. Now let's take this understanding and embody it as we take our conscious awareness deep into the low belly. And we're going to breathe in for a count of 4, hold for 4, relax the jaw, sigh it out for 4, and then just sink deeper. Open up more to receive as the mind expands and connects to the infinite flow of life's riches. Let's begin. Inhale deep into the low belly. Hold it there. Relax the jaw, any tension, and sigh it out. And sink deeper in consciousness, and deeper, and deeper. Inhaling deep into the low belly again, allowing that breath to drop nice and low, expanding the low belly. Hold for 4. And now relax the jaw. Let yourself feel and hear the release. Sigh it out. And letting go of any circumstance or condition that would make you less open, less available, sinking deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage, expanding like a big balloon. Hold it there. Relax the jaw, sigh it out. And from this place of receptivity, sink deeper and deeper and deeper. In through the low belly, up through the rib cage. We've expanded the sides. Now let's expand the front and the back of the body. Hold it there. And let's let it all go. Sigh it out. Sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's follow this path of breath in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, now allowing the breath to connect and rise to the heart, center of the chest. Hold it there. And without collapsing the body, release the breath, sigh it out. Sinking deeper and deeper and deeper. Let's find more places for breath and expansion. Inhale, deep into the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through into the heart chakra, center of the chest. Hold it there. Relax the jaw. Sigh it out. And then let go and sink deeper and deeper and deeper. Beautiful, everyone. Now let's slow this down a little more and experience the flow of breath, the inhale, the exhale, breathing in through the nostrils, this time closing the lips, letting the breath circulate within the body, getting warm, and as you release it through the nostrils, feeling that same warmth being released. We're going to slow it down for a count of 6. Let's breathe in. Hold for 6. With the lips closed, exhale through the nostrils. Just feel the release, the warmth, the inner knowing and connection. And sink deeper and deeper and deeper. As you follow that path of breath in and out through the nostrils, follow the feeling of ease in and out through the body. Opening our hearts and our minds to receive all of life's riches. Take a few rounds of deep breath here on your own. Let each round relax your body more and more. Beautiful, everyone. Now let's see, feel, and imagine a beam of pure white light flowing down through the crown, across the third eye, down the throat, Easing any tension or sense of weight or responsibility on the shoulders, they relax. As the energy flows down the arms, out the fingertips, and as it also makes its way down the body, relaxing the glutes and the hamstrings, any tension in our knees, our shins, or our calves, they relax. Feeling the security and connection of the earth beneath us, let that energy make its way into the earth. As you remain grounded and connected, scan your body and notice, without judgment, just compassion, anywhere that still feels tension. Send the breath there, send love there. As we prepare for our silent time, I will monitor the time. You just take the inward journey. And if the mind becomes preoccupied or wanders, it is okay. Be kind to your wandering mind. And when you become aware, lovingly, gently bring it back to the affirmative thought. Let that truth of the words wash over you. I am open to receive all of life's riches. You are open to receive all of life's riches. We are all open to receive all of life's riches now. With our eyelids still closed, we remember that there is no spot where God is not. Whether we are in meditation or whether we are moving about the planet in our daily activities, God is there. And as we allow our eyelids to remain closed, we remember that wherever God is, that's where prosperity is as well. It is within us, it is all around us, and we honor its movement in our lives. With our eyes still closed, we take the mental picture so that we come back full of the feeling and the knowing that we are open to receive all of life's riches. Let's allow the energy to flow through our fingertips now, As we inhale and draw our shoulder blades up by our ears. Exhale, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. Again, nice and easy, no strain. Inhale up. And nice and easy, releasing the shoulder blades back and down. One more time. Inhale up. Feeling good to be connected to the breath and the movement of the body, releasing the shoulder blades gently back and down. Bring the palms together at heart center. And if you're able, bow the chin towards the fingertips. Just noticing that the energy has not stopped moving. The connection is not severed, even by our movement. Allow the eyelids to gently open with a nice soft gaze, no strain on the eyes. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze, release the breath. Maintain the peace. Namaste.
Yes, yes. Namaste. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
So we are in masterclass mode. This is week 3. We're studying chapter 3 of Open Your Mind to Prosperity by Catherine Ponder. And as we're going to get into today's class, I want to put this question up. We posted it on YouTube, but I want to put this up, and I want people to think about this, and actually you can answer it in the comments, right? What did you release last week to prepare for more prosperity? And the reason why I want to bring this back is because that's what chapter 2 was all about. And if you have not done the release and elimination work, the impact of where we're going in these next 3 chapters, you're not going to fully experience them and fully demonstrate all that's possible. So if you just went through the chapter with us or even read it this week and you're like, oh yeah, that's nice, forgiveness, release, elimination, I'll get to it. Take the time this week to go back to that chapter and to do one or more of the things that Catherine Ponder recommends. Mm-hmm. Because as I said last week, if you have a plane that's trying to land, mm-hmm. if there are a bunch of other planes on the tarmac, on the runway, if there was all this junk and things there, the plane wouldn't be able to land. And so that's why it's very important that we must clear and cleanse our minds. This is how it works, y'all. Chapter 1, first, we become aware of the thoughts that we hold about prosperity, right? She talked about the class that her congregation asked her to teach. And then you found out that there was a lot of embarrassment around prosperity. You found out that people had judgments around wealth and riches, and they believed that, money was evil and all of these things. So you got to release those, become aware of those thoughts. And then the next step, there's beautiful processes for releasing, for eliminating, for clearing the ground. And so then we can move into the processes that we're going to be talking about here in chapter 3. So again, you can share that, because you may find as you're sharing what you released last week, you may see that other people were doing the same thing. Shout out to the Prosperity Circle. Mm-hmm. There was a whole lot of forgiveness going on, because that's always necessary. And it's wonderful when you can see that you're not alone and that others are moving through the exact same process.
And even if you haven't finished, keep going with your release. It's not a one-time thing. She even says that in the chapter. If you start and you're like, I didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done last week, that's okay. Keep going, keep releasing. There's still some things that I'm working on myself this week that I want to release. Yeah. And so I'm not going to stop releasing, yes. Because the more I release, the more I receive.
Yes. Absolutely. So let's dig into this chapter.
Yes.
Create your prosperity mentally first in writing. So again, this is why we had to release, because now we're creating the space where we can start to use these specific processes to demonstrate our prosperity. I once lectured in New Orleans on the subject, "You Can Have Everything." After the talk had begun, a businessman came rushing into the auditorium and said breathlessly to an usher, "I hope I'm not too late because I'm here to get everything." There is a way you can have everything, and that is by creating your good mentally first. It has been estimated that success may be as much 98% mental preparation and only 2% outer action. You hear me say often that the mental work is the work. And this is why I say this, because most people are out here focused on the 2%, right? Most people are out here doing a lot of things and working hard and trying to attain and achieve externally, and have never dealt with the 98%, which is the bulk of where the power is, right? Right. So,
and a lot of that internal, that 98%, is cluttered with old beliefs, old ideas about what she's talking about. All of this stuff starts to come up probably when you think and talk about prosperity. So don't be discouraged if that happens, but realize you're just making more room, because if there's all of this stuff on the runway, what could you mentally write about except more of the same stuff?
Right.
So you got to release it.
Absolutely. Jesus must have made a lot of mental preparation before feeding the 5,000, because he had them sit down in companies, look up, and give thanks first. There are 3 basic ways in which you may create your prosperity mentally first. 1, in writing. 2, in pictures. 3, in words. Several decades ago, when I began writing about prosperity, my son and I were living in one room. We might still be living in that one room if we had not begun creating our prosperity mentally first by writing, picturing, and affirming. It was while we were living in that room that I learned of these 3 ways to create prosperity mentally. When my son and I began to use them, they worked. This convinced me that I must begin telling other people about them through my writing. Stop looking to people or conditions for your prosperity. Have that highlighted, because we can't say it enough, right? Stop looking to people or conditions for your prosperity. What she's saying is she and her son use these processes of their own intention and volition and created something powerful in their lives. So it's people and conditions matter not. Your decision is what matters. Start using these 3 simple prosperity techniques as described in this and the following 2 chapters. As you do, you will create your prosperity mentally first. It will then overflow from the mental side into the visible world as tangible results.
And notice she didn't mention these 3 in the previous chapter. That's on purpose. Because a lot of people are out here, there's nothing wrong with vision boards. There's nothing wrong with writing it down, making lists. But if you haven't done chapter 2, again, it's almost a waste of time, or you get discouraged because you keep recreating the same things you were creating before, and you think this doesn't work. It cannot work for you unless you've cleared it out, the space for it.
That's spiritual law, that's spiritual principle. Right? For several years, my son and I had been living in one room which had been provided to us by the church I was serving. The trustees seemed satisfied that they were adequately providing for us. The financial situation of the church at that time certainly did not seem equal to providing us with any more elaborate living quarters. Yet our present ones were certainly insufficient. Several times I had timidly mentioned it, but the feeling had always been the same. The church had no funds to provide us with a manse, period. On that note, the subject was always closed. For many months, I thought to myself resentfully, why doesn't somebody do something? Anybody ever been in that space? Finally, it occurred to me, why don't you do something? Why don't you create your prosperity mentally first? Again, this is why we do not need or depend on people and conditions. No one else can think for you, right? No one else can prepare mentally for you, and that's where your power is. It was then that my young son and I decided to put into writing, picturing, and affirmation what we wanted, a church manse. After writing out our list, placing pictures on a treasure map, and beginning daily to speak forth the affirmation, I am beautifully and appropriately housed with the rich substance of God, an interesting thing happened. One day, a man walked in, said he had just come into an inheritance and wished to share the tithe from it with the church. How much is the tithe offering? I asked. $8,000, he replied. Great, there's the down payment for the new church manse. Within a matter of days, a lovely house had been located in the most beautiful area of the city, and negotiations were quickly completed. Before we knew it, my son and I were moving into a new house with new furnishings. And just as quickly, perhaps as a bonus for all of our prayer work, there appeared a fine housekeeper who insisted she was going to work for us. She had read some of my writings and wanted to know more about prosperous thinking. It seemed a miracle since domestic help was at such a premium and hardly within my financial reach under ordinary circumstances. As she foresaw, her personal contact with prosperous thinking proved worthwhile. As mentioned in an earlier chapter, she later resigned as my housekeeper and did what she had always dreamed of doing. She became a dressmaker, a profession in which she is still in demand. This is powerful. It teaches on so many levels. I think we're also getting to get a window into the consciousness and the mind of the housekeeper. Because you may have heard that story in the beginning and it's like, oh yeah, she was just around prosperous thinking and, she made this unlikely choice and became this dressmaker. But you actually see that she was operating from a certain mindset
even before she started working for her. Right. And so she was operating from a prosperous mindset that was guiding her to make certain right choices, right actions in her life, one of which was working for Catherine Ponder.
And so she was moving from right action to right action, right choice to right choice, inspired idea to inspired idea. Why you must create your prosperity mentally first. Humanity is a spiritual and mental being, and lives from the inside out through our mind. You hear that again. Each of us, each of you are a spiritual and mental being and lives from the inside out through your mind. That's not what most of the world teaches or thinks or how they operate, right? We're taught that life is lived from the outside in.
And it's understandable, given our our sensory world, that we would make those false equivalencies, those false connections on how we should live and how we're really living. Because many people don't know these things that you're learning here at CSC. And so if you would say it to them, they're like, what are you talking about? But it is only through making that mental picture and then allowing it to out picture that you see how life really works.
Inside out, through our mind, right? That's why we have to get it in our mind, then we can hold it in our hands. As a loving mother and father, God is the source of your prosperity. This same mother-father has provided the substance of the universe, which I like to call gold dust, that you can shape and form as prosperity. This substance is passive and impersonal and waits for you to form it personally as you will. Right? When we talk about substance, I love to call it's like Play-Doh, because it reminds me, I think about when I was a kid and I loved to play with Play-Doh. It can be shaped and formed into anything. You can press it into any mold, right? So this is what we're doing with our thoughts. We create the mold in our mind and substance fills it.
Absolutely. And the fact she keeps reminding us that this substance is passive, it's impersonal. You don't have to be a better person. You don't have to be a certain religion or sex or sexuality. It's impersonal.
Yep. You are master of the rich substance of the universe, right? Just as you would be the master of working with clay. Right? You claim your mastery and take hold of this substance, shaping, molding, and forming it with your definite, deliberate thoughts, words, and actions. As you become definite about prosperity, it becomes definite about you. As you turn the great energy of your thinking upon ideas of plenty, you will have plenty regardless of what people about you are saying or doing. There's that wonderful word. I love to highlight it because you will always find it in New Thought teaching, definite and definiteness, right? And this is why I say all the time, we get definite with the infinite, right? As you become definite about prosperity, it becomes definite about you. What most people are doing, however, yes, right? When she says your definite, deliberate thoughts, words, and actions, most people's words, thoughts, and actions are random, are sporadic, sometimes prosperous, sometimes medium prosperous, sometimes not prosperous at all. And then that's why your lives tend to be random. But when you choose to start operating definitely and deliberately, you have a constant flow of this good that we call prosperity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just the simpleness of what she's saying. If you really internalize that and look at your own life, not from judgment, like, oh, this is why my life's so messed up, but from awareness, like, oh, this is an opportunity to get definite with the infinite, right? Because you might not have been, or you might have been definite in your unworthiness. Right? Because life keeps showing it to you. You might be definite in your lack of prosperity or whatever it is because life keeps showing it to you. It's not showing it to you to punish you. It's just showing you the power of your mind to create and therefore recreate.
And the other piece there is you might be definite in your relationships, but not definite in your career, right? You might be definite in your career, but not definite in your finances. You might be definite in your finances, right? But not definite in some other area of your life. So that's the other way how you can see how the law is actually absolutely and actually working.
Yeah, and none of us is definite in every area of our lives. That's why we love teaching this, so that we can fine-tune our own definiteness. Yes, we can fine-tune it so that, okay, I am doing well here and here, but there's some work over in this area.
Absolutely.
No one's doing it all right. I don't care what social media is telling you.
Yeah, and that's not a requirement.
And it's not.
Right, that's the beautiful thing, right? It is through writing, picturing, and affirming prosperity that your thoughts, words, and actions begin working for you in happy, prosperous, productive ways. Begin right now to get definite about prosperity by sitting down and making a list of the good you want to experience in your life. Emma Curtis Hopkins, a great truth teacher at the turn of the century, once said, "Sit down at a certain time every day and write down on paper what your ideas of good are. You will find that such a practice will pin your mind down to the truth, and you will demonstrate results." Emma Curtis Hopkins is not just a great truth teacher at the turn of the century. She is the mother of the movement, right? She is called the teacher of teachers. She was Ernest Holmes' teacher. She was the teacher of the Fillmores. She was the teacher of Melinda Kramer. She was the teacher of H. Emily Cady. And so her work, oh my God, is so powerful and wonderful. And it's out of her work that we get so many of the teachings and the denominations that we know in New Thought.
You know, there's one other piece that I want to throw in here is sometimes we think we're being definite with the infinite, but we're actually talking about what we don't want. We're definite in I don't want this job anymore. I don't want this relationship. I don't want my body to feel like this. And so that, in a way, is being definite about what you don't want. So if that's the place you got to start at, make your I don't want list, but quickly turn it into a what I want list. Because many times when I'm working with someone or PG's working with someone, we'll be like, what do you want? And they're like, well, I don't want. And I'm like, okay, but what do you want?
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, this is not judgment. This is saying, okay, now I know what I don't want. Let me quickly turn it around and start writing a list of what I do want. Even if it's one or two things, and you write that every day, quickly the list will grow because you're now signaling your subconscious mind that it's okay for me to want and receive.
Right, and that's what Emma Curtis Hopkins is saying here, right? That as you do that, if you put certain time every day, you will find that such a practice will pin your mind down. I love that image. Pin your mind down to the truth, and you will demonstrate results. Another eminent metaphysician, Dr. Emmett Fox, said this is the way to alter your life. If you want to change your life, right? Change your mind, change your life. Remember this: if you just drift along without any decision or definite purpose, you become the helpless victim of circumstances. If your desires are not clear and definite, you become subject to the dominating personalities of people around you. The way to overcome difficulties is to set a goal in writing.
Right.
And this is important because this is different. I think a lot of times people make decisions and again, they're just operating on the external. They're not using this beautiful process of writing, which we're going to get into some details again. You all may have seen Coco Gauff recently did this as she won the French Open. She was inspired by another athlete, and she put it in writing what she desired to do, right? Powerful.
And it's beautiful because she was aware that there was a place within her thinking that was not on what she wanted. And so she did exactly that.
Yep.
She didn't beat herself up because she wasn't aware, oh, I'm thinking, fearful thoughts or whatever. She was like, oh, I need to put my mind on what I want.
Have you ever at some point in your life become subject to the dominant personality of someone who knew what he wanted and found yourself getting it for him? I have. My son has usually known what he wanted in detail. I once looked out the window and realized that the two sports cars I saw parked there were both the result of Richard's definite desires, not mine. I had never had any preference as to cars, but like most men, Richard had. The result was that not only was he driving a sports car equipped for racing, but so was I. Furthermore, remember this: if you do not know what you want and have no set purpose, your subconscious mind just produces a conglomeration of circumstances. This is that random, sporadic thing I was just talking about. This is why there is so much confusion in the lives of passive people. I would go further. This is why there's so much confusion in the world. Concentrate on one thing long enough and you are sure to get it. Always have a definite goal in mind and write it down. Never let yourself drift unless you want to end up with two race cars parked in your yard.
And I love that story, right? Because it shows that she was unconscious about some things. She was like, wait, I knew I needed a car, but I wasn't definite. And I have a car, but it's not necessarily the car I want. It's my son's cars, plural.
There is a specific reason why you should get definite about what you want. The word desire in its root means of the Father. It's your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom, and it should be your good pleasure to receive it here and now. How can you test these desires to be sure they are of the Father? If the desires you have are only surface desires, they pass away. But if they are deep-seated desires for greater good that remain with you through thick and thin, they are from the Father or from the divine. They are divine desires. You should express them constructively rather than suppress them destructively. Desire is God trying to give you greater good. Open your mind to receive it. Then get definite about that desire by writing it down so that it can definitely manifest for you. And I love that she says this about desire. Desire is God trying to give you greater good. I've worked with so many people who have had issues with desiring things, right? And the truth is that, right, desire is God in you bringing forth, bubbling up God ideas, bubbling up inspired ideas for you to implement. And the thing is, because we are at the deepest level of consciousness, there's only unity. If you do not express that God idea, someone or something else will. You ever had an idea and then you see it manifest somewhere else? You're like, I had that idea. Or I thought about that invention, or I thought about that product. Right. Because that desire is God trying to give greater good, not just to you, but to life itself, to express. Right. And so the opportunity for each and every one of us is, as she said, not to suppress them destructively, but to express them constructively, recognizing that every God idea has with it all of the support, all of the things that are needed for it to come into being. It just needs your yes.
Absolutely. I just love that we're even discussing desire at all, because we've all been conditioned to think that desire is a bad thing. It's not. Now, make sure that your desires are connected to, like she says, the good that really is coming forth from Mother, Father, God. Again, nothing wrong with desire at all, but make sure that there's not something behind it that you really want, but instead you're saying you want something else, right?
You're trying to fill a sense of emptiness, those sorts of things, right? Choice is a magic word to the mind. Choice produces results. Your mind constantly produces what you choose, consciously and unconsciously. There is an ancient secret about the power of writing out what you want, as mentioned in my book, The Prosperity Secret of the Ages. Your definite written words dissolve all obstacles and barriers on the visible and invisible planes of life. Your written words go out into the ethers of this universe to work through people, circumstances, and events to open the way for your desired good to come to pass. And when you understand this, then you don't have to operate as a manipulator in the world, right? You think about Catherine Ponder, she shared the story about, wanting a new space, a new home. The church could only afford what it could afford, right? It was a one-room home for her and her son. Now, clearly that wasn't adequate enough space for them and living conditions for them, right? And that's not the church. The church is not at fault or bad or wrong. And so, although she went through those emotions, right? She said resentfully.
She was like, I'm
right?
showing up for these people week in and week out, and this is all I got is one room.
But then she remembered the truth. Why don't you do something about your prosperity, right? Why don't you create it mentally first? And so out of doing that work, right, quietly and secretly, it then began to work through people, circumstances, and events in ways that she could not have cultivated or created or scripted or manipulated in her own way. And it happened beautifully, easily, and effortlessly. There was a flow to it.
Right. And so, when she became aware that she was resentful, she doesn't say it here, but her process is, I got to release that first. And then I can start creating the mental picture.
An artist proved this. She had an oil painting that had not been sold after having been on display for months. Finally, she remembered to write out on her list of things desired that this painting would sell quickly at the price she was asking. She wrote this on her list on October 11th. On October 13th, she received a long-distance call informing her of an art show at a nearby city. The caller was requesting pictures from her to display at the show. She immediately sent the oil painting that was on her list, and it sold, as priced, the day the show opened. Psychologists tell us that most things are done by choice, that choice produces results, but that it is up to you to choose what you want.
And I'd like to expand that a little further. Some of those choices are conscious. Some of them are unconscious choices. So you'd be like, I didn't choose this or whatever. And you might not have consciously chosen it. There might be something there that was just in the back of your mind that says, this is how I live. This is how I operate. This is what I'm worthy of. On and on and on and on it goes.
And so the beauty is now you have the opportunity to consciously choose because you understand the power of choice, right? We did a whole masterclass on the power of decision, right? After I had written about this prosperity technique in my book, The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity, a businessman from Philadelphia wrote me to verify the validity of this method. He was once asked by a large corporation to give 92 of their top executives a success course, for which the company paid him a large fee. In this course, the executives were asked to write out the things they wished to experience in life. The following results were reported. Miracles happened. Everyone was healed of health problems, even of so-called incurable diseases. Out of 92 men, all but 2 said they had gained vast good. All of these men got raises in pay of from $2,000 to $20,000 a year. Health problems, prosperity, and personality problems were all solved by using this list-making method. I'm living proof of the list-making method. Literally, CSC exists because of the list-making method, right? And so many other things in my life. Okay, so now we're going to get into a section here where we're going to have to talk to and clean up some things because there's some problematic pieces here. We'll read through it and address it. The psychology of poverty. And I would like to even just preface this by saying the psychology of poverty thinking.
Right.
Because I think the way this is written, it feels like it's talking about a group of people. And really what we want to make the distinction of is that we're talking about poverty consciousness, poverty thinking. And each and every one of us have experienced poverty thinking, right? So this is not about a group of people.
Right.
Recently, one of my readers, who is a psychologist, explained that the poor are so caught up in their present problems that they do not plan ahead or think ahead. Also, they have great hostility and envy toward those who prosper. The poor are suspicious and resentful toward people who succeed in life. Now, this is an incredibly problematic statement, right? Because first of all, the poor, the nature of not having enough resources, the nature of worrying about where your next meal is going to come from, the nature of not knowing if you're going to be able to pay your rent next month, not even knowing if you'll have money for your Metro card to get to and from a job that you may feel underappreciated, unemployed. You don't have the mental availability to think ahead or plan ahead.
Right.
And when we consider, specifically in this country, but other parts of the world, right, that we understand that there's an intentionality around how and why poverty exists in certain spaces and places on this planet. So to make a statement like that, like, oh, those people do not plan or think ahead, without also acknowledging how and why poverty exists and the truth that poverty does not have to exist. When we live in a space and place right now where people are being taken, their health care is being taken away and benefits are being taken away from people that would give them the foundation to be able to think and plan, because they don't have to worry about a doctor bill to think and plan, because they wouldn't have to worry about having money for the grocery store. Oh, this thing gets me. I don't want to go too far.
Right. But, and it's really, to me, from a psychological perspective, it's exploring the psychological consequences of poverty would be a better way to look at it.
Yep.
Because that includes individual mindsets, that includes decision-making ability, that includes behaviors. All of those things go into the psychology of the consequences of a system that we collectively have set up. Right? And so therefore there's no victimizing the people that are in those conditions. But what we're here to do is help them examine their individual mindset around it, that is not permanent. And I've always said it, there's, even in New Thought, there should be this hierarchy of how people understand these teachings. If your baseline needs are not met, you may not even be able to comprehend what we're talking about. If you are feeling threatened by your home environment or all these things that can happen in your life's experience, then it might even be hard to say, I have a choice.
Right.
And so that's why it's important. And I'm glad, we're taking the time to talk about the psychology of poverty in a different way. And I hope this opens that up for some people, that it's the consequences of poverty that impact the mindset.
And a poverty consciousness exists whether you have or don't have. So the idea that those who have hostility and envy towards those that prosper, clearly there are billionaires in our country that have hostility and envy towards others, right? The poor are suspicious and resentful toward people who succeed in life. This is the reason why they're trying to get, and unfortunately right now successfully, removing DEI programs, right? Because there are those that are succeeding, Black and brown people, there are women that are succeeding, there are LGBTQ plus people that are succeeding, and clearly there's hostility and envy and suspicion and resentment towards those that are prospering. And so they want to remove all of the ability for those people to prosper.
And so in some ways, it's almost like a projection of beliefs to say this and blanket it across a whole group of people. And that's why we're focusing on the consequences of poverty at all. And that way it brings compassion to anyone in that situation.
Yep. What about you? Are you so wrapped up in problems of the past and the present that you have not taken time to plan for better things? Perfect question, right? Because this is what it's really about. Again, all of us have experienced poverty thinking, poverty consciousness in various ways. Right,
meaning a lack of.
Right. And so, have we been so wrapped up in thinking about the past, what should have happened, what didn't happen, and all of that, that we're not consciously choosing from the now what we want to experience next, right? And so this question is powerful.
And that doesn't mean those things didn't happen, right? That's important to also know. We honor what happened, but are you ready to move on now?
Are you hostile and envious of people around you who succeed? Do you criticize them? Have you made unkind remarks about them? How do you feel? How do you react when someone near you has a prayer answered or has some good thing happen? Can you take it? So this, if any of this is bringing some stuff up, takes you back to chapter 2. There's some release work. There's some forgiveness work, right? There's an elimination work that you have the opportunity to do. Sometimes we are tested. PY and I do not believe that we are tested in any way
by God.
By God, right? Sometimes the good we desire in life seems to come to people around us first. If we can praise and give thanks for another's blessings, rather than be envious and jealous and critical, then we can be assured that those same blessings or even greater ones will come to us. That is true. That's why I highlighted that, because that's a true principle, right? It is very important. If we can't be in joy around the good that we see and experience in others' lives, we're blocking our own good. Because, as I said earlier, at the depth of consciousness, there's unity. Mm-hmm. So there really is no other, right? And so you would really be doing that to yourself. But if we make unkind remarks about are hostile toward or envious of other people's blessings, we have, in her words, failed the test. It just means we've missed the mark, right? We stop similar blessings from getting through to us. And that's true. That is a principle. So overcoming envy, a statement you should use often to dissolve envy, hostility, jealousy, or criticism is this: love envieth not. The prospering truth has set me free to prosper. As you view the blessings that come to other people, remind yourself of this great truth: the longer your good is in coming, the greater it will be when it comes. So why envy anyone else his good? Indeed, when good things happen to other people, it is an indication that the same or even greater good can, I would say, and will come to you.
I love this, and I remember this from years ago. One of the things on my list at one point was a loving and healthy relationship. And so and having men that were loving and supportive. And so that was on my list. But anytime I saw a man, in this case for me, being loving and supportive and kind, I didn't become jealous or envious of it. I was like, ooh, that energy is in the room, and I get to see it modeled. It's not just a thought in my head anymore. It's right here in front of me, happening. Every time that happened, I made note of it. And that was years before PG and I ever met, right? The other thing that Abraham says is now you're creating that awareness and that picture around what it is you want. You're getting clearer about it.
Absolutely. Make your list. Think about what you really want. When good things begin happening to people around you, it is an indication that your good is near. You can draw it to you and externalize it quickly by writing it down.
Right.
An executive from Illinois once wrote me a long letter in which he said, "The business of writing a list of those things you feel you need in your life works. I have done just that, and success became apparent almost instantly. Since then, everything I had on my list has come to me. Some of them were tremendous things, such as an early retirement so that I could become a public speaker. I am now a lecturer for business groups at $250 per lecture. I also listed an adequate income so that my life might continue normally as before retirement. Even such things as an expensive travel trailer, a fine motion picture camera, and other such items have come to me. I have proved beyond all doubt that God intends us to have whatever we want that will advance our good on this earth." Why this technique is necessary? You may be thinking, yes, but why are these simple techniques necessary from a spiritual standpoint? The soul of humanity must look outward as well as inward for balance. The soul is the blending area of the mind. You must balance the inner with the outer. That is why you are in a body on this earth plane, though you are a spiritual being functioning through a mind. There is nothing more pathetic than to see those misguided persons who think they are too advanced or too spiritual to demonstrate the blessings of life in a practical way, right? I don't know if that's anyone here in this space right here and right now. And this is being reinforced from chapter 1 forward, right? That it is spiritual to experience the tangible, beautiful, wonderful things that we can have and experience here in this human experience, right? And so often it may even be, oh, well, others are suffering, I shouldn't take a vacation. but then you go burn out.
And you
right?
can't help anybody.
Right? You can't help it. Oh, others are suffering. I shouldn't buy this thing for myself. Right? It is not too advanced or too spiritual to demonstrate the blessings of life in a practical way.
And the other beautiful thing about that is not just demonstrating it for yourself, you're showing others what's possible, right?
Such individuals become confused and suffer all kinds of needless problems because they are not balanced. Dare to do the simple thing. Make your list of what you really want, not what somebody else thinks you should have. As you make your list, dare to please only yourself, remembering that the highest is the nearest. Then keep your list private, a secret between you and your own indwelling Lord. I want to read this again, right? Dare to do this simple thing. Make your list of what you really want, not what somebody else thinks you should have. As you make your list, dare to prosper to please only yourself, remembering that the highest is the nearest. And then this word of wisdom, which I call the hush your mouth principle. Keep your list private, a secret between you and your own indwelling Lord, right? What many people are doing, and I remember seeing on social media, I think it was sometime last year, there was this dialogue around, should you talk about your list or your dreams or your desires? And again, the hush your mouth principle is spiritual law. And we can understand it if we look to the physical world. When you don't keep your list private, it's the equivalent of planting a seed and then digging it up the next day. Be like, look, y'all, I planted this seed. But if you dig up the seed and show everybody the seed, it's not going to be able to go through its process. Everybody's going to see it eventually when it breaks through the ground, right? So you don't have that. The idea of telling people is something that you gotta let go of, right? Hush your mouth.
What is that about, really? I mean, that's to me the deeper thing that needs to be healed. What is that desire to? Is it for confirmation that what you want is valid?
Right. That's why she said what she said, not what others think you should have. Please only yourself.
Right. And it's not saying that you're selfish in this. It's saying that these are the desires that I have, and I'm willing to take the steps to allow them to happen. And many times, right, we're looking for external validation. Are these good desires or not?
Right.
Right? It's not up to them. It's your choice. You get to decide what you want and when you want it and how you want it and all that good stuff, right? So get off of that idea that I got to get someone else to approve of what I approve of.
Right.
Approve of me, approve of what I approve of. Here's the other little thing that happens when you're waiting on someone else to approve of what you planted, the seed. By their thinking and talking to you, it's in effect digging up your seed and planting their seed. Because usually what they're planting is a seed of doubt. Of fear, of worry, a projection from their own sense, I can or cannot have things, right? And so that's why it's so important to allow the seed to marinate, germinate, allow it to grow, at least have some roots before you go out there letting somebody else dig it up.
There it is. There it is. And, I love how Ernest Holmes writes about it in The Science of Mind. One alone in consciousness with the divine constitutes a complete majority. So that's why keep your list private, a secret between you and the divine. That's a complete majority.
Because even if it's not fully formed yet, your list, you just started it, or you have this excitement about it, it's you and the divine. And so therefore, the divine will say yes and guide you to its fruition.
Yep. It is in this way that you express constructively rather than suppress destructively your desires, which are from the Father, Mother, Father, God. The very act of list making clears your mind and your life. Recently, I made a list of 3 things I thought I wanted to experience in my life. 6 months later, when I looked at that list, I was amazed at how it had worked out. The first item on my list had come to pass. It was by far the most important one. The second item had not come to pass, and events indicated that the answer to that desire was no for the time being. So I dismissed it in peace, feeling that it would manifest later at the right time. As I looked at the third desire, I realized I had changed my mind completely and simply did not want it, and it had not taken place. This is why you remember in the Biggest Dream series last year and Dream Again, it's one of the things I'm always reminding you that your lists are living documents, right? And you come back to them over and over again because they're things that you're going to be like, oh, I don't even know why I wrote that, or I don't really want that now, right?
Right. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing at all. Conditions might have changed. Your desires might have changed. It might be bigger than what you thought before. It might be showing up in a different way than you thought before.
Testing this method. You can test this method by first using it on a daily basis. A young insurance executive said, I have bogged down. I now sell more than $1 million worth of insurance each year and am a member of the President's Club. But I want to sell at least $2 million worth of insurance this next year and go on up from there. I suggested that he begin going to the office an hour earlier each morning before his secretary arrived and the telephone started ringing. In that early morning hour, he was to write out a list of the things he wanted to accomplish that day. At the top of his daily list, he was to write, the success power of Jesus Christ in absolute control of this day, producing perfect results here and now. If you want to use this, it could be Jesus Christ, it could be the Christ mind, Christ consciousness, whatever represents that power for you, you can use there. A week later, he telephoned, it works. I can hardly believe how much has been accomplished this week, easily and peacefully. In one day alone, I sold 2 $50,000 policies, and now I have an appointment to make the biggest sale of my life. I am well on the way to my $2 million goal for this year. He had outlined to me his 5-year plan for success, which included an increase from $2 million in sales to $3 million, $4 million, and $5 million, with additional employees being added to his staff from time to time. I suggested that he work up the 5-year plan on a poster board and place it where he could look at it in his early morning quiet time. This he had done. You may recognize in this process, she essentially told him to start a daily spiritual practice. Before you get into the fullness of your day and the activity of your day, create your prosperity mentally first. Right? And that's what the writing is all about, that 5 minutes of writing every day. That's what you're doing. This is why we're always telling you that's not the time to journal your problems. Your therapist may want you to do that, and there's wonderful reasons to do that, right? To get stuff out of your mind and to declutter your mind in terms of your thoughts, necessary. But that's not what your daily spiritual practice, that 5 minutes of writing is about, which is why we call it affirmative journaling. Right? You're using that time to create. You're using that time. Once you've made your list through the process shared in this chapter, right, then you can use that on a daily basis in your daily spiritual practice. Are you willing to take what goes with results? After making your list, be ready and willing to change it as the days pass and as your mind goes to work for you. Be flexible, be adaptable, be willing to expand and improve your list.
Yeah, it's
right?
that, like I like to say, have a vision, but hold it lightly. We're not saying don't make a list and don't be as detailed as you want, but just hold it lightly because you don't have all the insight, all the information, and it might adjust. So be flexible.
Yeah. And so here's the list making method. I love this. It is wise to make 3 lists. 1, what you want to eliminate from your life. 2, what you want to bring into your life. And 3, what you are thankful for. After making these lists, ask yourself the following questions. First, are these desires legal? Would they hurt anyone else if they came to pass? There is an old saying, the good of one is the good of all. Second, are these desires emotionally right for you? Are you emotionally ready to accept them if they come? And I said this last week. You may remember I referenced this and used this as we were on New Year's Eve to prepare to come into 2025. Right? A lot of times there's things that we want, and I think I used the example there about there may be a relationship that you want, but there's actually some work that you need to do before you're ready to be in a long-term relationship, before you're ready for marriage, right? So are these desires emotionally right for you? Are you emotionally ready to accept them if they come? Right? I've heard many people say it's like, I don't want to be in a relationship because you got to think about somebody else, right? And so if you're not really ready to think about somebody else and be, really
right, no judgment,
right? You just want to be in a relationship because #relationship goals, and you were feeling, jealous when you were scrolling through social media, looking at people having a good time together. Third, are you willing to accept the responsibility that goes with having them?
Yes.
The example I used on New Year's Eve was many of you want to quit your 9 to 5. You want to be an entrepreneur. Are you willing to accept the responsibility that goes with having that? Right? Because
let me tell you,
you can end up with greater problems.
Yes.
And you be wishing all you had to do was just show up, put in your 8 hours, take your vacation, get your sick days, etc. Right? So this is very good and very important, these questions. Fourth, what are you going to give up to make room for them? Oh, there it is again. You can't get away from it.
This is me doing my emoji. Right, I got my iPad in my.
All right. I want to finish up this section. In his famous essay on compensation, Emerson explained, for everything you gain, you lose something, right? And while I don't like the use of the word lose, it's really true.
You release something.
You release
something has to go.
Right? Every phase of life requires renunciation. Every advance means the rejection of something old, right?
Rejection, letting go of something old.
Right. A mother was anxious. This story is funny and interesting, but a mother was anxious for her 30-year-old son to marry. Though a well-educated and prosperous professional man, he was crippled. Both he and his mother feared he might never marry. After taking some prosperity classes, she decided to write on her list the desire for her son to marry. Almost immediately, he met the girl of his dreams, who did not care that he was lame. But his dream girl had been married before and had several children. This his mother had not counted on, nor was she emotionally prepared to cope with all that went with giving up her son. They had lived together for years, and she had grown accustomed to his company as well as his financial help with her various interests. When she realized what would happen if her son did marry, she tore up her list, but it was too late. He was well on his way to matrimony. His mother never forgave the list-making method for working so well. She refused to believe that elimination not only takes something from you, but also gives something to you if you let it. Unfortunately, she never let it work in this perfect way. I love that she puts that all together. Buddha taught that each person is free, that we are the maker of our own destiny through our choices, but that in making our choices, we must be willing to accept the consequences, right? The sequences that come after the choice.
After the choice.
I recently looked at a list I made month by month for a 12-month period 10 years ago. It was gratifying to realize that everything I had asked for on those lists had come to me, not always in the way I had anticipated, but manifest they did. There were surprises that accompanied some of them, even changes in residence and ministries, accompanied by moves to new parts of the country, were occasioned by some items on the list. After completing your list, you can protect your desires by writing at the bottom, this or something better.
One of my favorites.
Father, Mother, Father, God, let your unlimited good will be done. Or, I release my list to the perfect outworking of the Christ consciousness now. This opens the way for your highest good to come to you. This or something better, this or something better. That this is a very important from a place of consciousness, because what can happen many times is you get married to what you've written, and that's only one part of the puzzle, right? Life, source, the substance that is God has a vantage point that you don't have. And so you're starting the process by planting the seed, right? And writing the list. And then there's a trust, just as there's a trust that happens in the physical world when we plant a seed. There's so many things that have to be trusted for that apple seed to become a tree and ultimately an orchard, right? So, oh, wow, this is so powerful. I'm glad we were able to finish this chapter today. I trust that you all are excited and locked in to start working on your list and to bring this to your daily spiritual practice and bring this to your process, because when you make the choice to write it down, this is how you prepare your mind mentally for prosperity. So this week is all about writing, right? Then we're going to move into pictures. We're going to move into using our words. But right now, it's about writing.
Absolutely.
And so I even encourage you, as I'm thinking about this right now, you may even want to not only review this week, rereading this chapter and watching this live stream again, you may want to go back to My Biggest Dream or Dream Again from last year, because both of those series are about list making and the power of writing, and coming back to the list over and over again. So I think that'll be good energy for you as you continue with this process.
And don't be afraid to just start writing it down. Clarity will come. Revisions will be made. It's all good in the mind of God.
Absolutely.
And so just start right where you are. Yeah. And if you're writing it down, making your list, and the thought comes up, the opposite of that, or why you can't have it, then put that on some other list. Put that on your elimination list, right? Because this list is all about what you want. If thoughts come up, well, it didn't work for such and such, that's for your elimination list. Yes, those beliefs are always going to stand in your way until you eliminate them.
Beautiful, beautiful. And so in this moment, it is time for giving. It is very easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, and give your dollar amount there, or you can text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500. There is a $10 minimum to text to give. As we continue to teach and remind you here at CSC, as you give, you receive. And what that means is what's behind your giving is what you receive, right? It's not, as you give $100, you receive $100. As you give $1,000, you receive $1,000. As you give $10,000, you receive $10,000. As you give, you receive. And so whatever that amount is, if you're giving from fear, if you're giving from doubt, if you're giving from worry, if you're giving from stinginess, if you're giving from
manipulation, resentment, yeah.
If you're giving from robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? That's what you're going to receive. Right. And so we want you to pick your dollar amount, that amount that you can feel good about, that brings joy. This is why we say give what feels good, right? Because we recognize that as you give, you receive. And when you do that, then you can absolutely, with confidence, affirm this with all of us. All the money that I circulate, returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. To that we say amen.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. So it must be. Well, we have reached the conclusion of our service and the masterclass for this week. Again, go back to chapter 3, read through it again, come back to this stream, read through it with us again and hear our commentary. Also, I encourage you, you can find the series and the playlist on our YouTube channel, My Biggest Dream, which was January of 2024, and Dream Again, which I believe was September of 2024. Both of those series are also about list making and the power of writing, and I think will support you in some beautiful ways. I quote Catherine Ponder in those sermons, as well as other sources talking about definiteness, all of those wonderful things. So you'll be hearing the same themes, the same things. But sometimes looking at it a different way will inspire you and support you.
And I hope this excites you.
Oh, yeah.
As opposed to anything else. Like, oh, now I get to practice to see how it works. I get to test the method, right? Don't just get excited and not do anything with that excitement. Channel that energy of excitement into your hand and into your pen and into your paper.
Yeah. That's what a metaphysician does, right? As a scientist, right? This is why it's the science of mind, the science of living, mental science. We experiment, we test these theories. We don't just take it because the pastor said it. We don't just do it.
That's why I love it too. Right? I don't have to believe, you don't have to believe anything we say. But if you haven't tried it for yourself, then how you going to know?
Right. And so we, again, would send happy Father's Day to everyone, to all the fathers, and we trust that you will enjoy the rest of your day. We look forward to many of you joining us live on Wednesday for the Momentum Prayer Call, and then we will be back together next Sunday as we tap into Chapter 4 of Open Your Mind to Prosperity. Let someone know about this masterclass, share this with someone, and then invite them to join us live next Sunday.
And shout out to the Prosperity Circle. We love you. Keep doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. So please enjoy the rest of your day. We love you. We appreciate you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.